Hello, this is Liam from Lazarus Personal Training, the founder of the No Shoe Crew, and this is your office reset workout. Now that we're in a lockdown, now that we're in quarantine and pretty much everybody is working from home, this is a great opportunity to try and change your posture a little bit and bring your body out of a state that's been sat in probably for far too long. That office posture where we've got tight hip flexors, where the quad's long here and the hamstring is short and we're pulled forward into this position, is something that all too many of us deal with, and hopefully with this workout it'll give you a bit of an idea about how you bring yourself out of that position. Now with that, if we're looking to change the body's posture, we need to stretch and we need to strengthen. So the way that this workout works is that you have 3 blocks. You'll be doing 3 rounds where you do a minute stretch and then 20 reps of an exercise. So we go stretch, strengthen, little rest, and then repeat 3 times before moving on to the next block and then moving on to the final block. For your first block, we are looking at the upper body. So if we're in this rounded forward position, we need to stretch out the pecs and strengthen the upper back and rear delt area. So with that, what I'd want you to do is lay down on the floor and go into a laying pec stretch for 1 minute on each side. That laying pec stretch is laid down where we're pushing out onto the floor, stretching through this pec area and tilting the hips up, and we can plant the hand down and in to stretch out that pec. We'd go a minute on one side to flip that over and go a minute onto the other side. And then from there, you'd go into some ATWs where we would pulse 20 reps in each position. So an ATW laid down on the floor, his arms pulling down to pinch the shoulder blades and squeeze 20 times to then come up into a T position and squeeze 20 times to then go into a W position and squeeze 20 times. Now with that, despite it just being your shoulder blades moving in and out, and that's what I want you to think about, is that you pinch and relax, pinch and relax. A full round out of that is going to leave your rear delts really burning through. So that is laying pec stretch for a minute on each side to then go into 20 pulses in each position of an ATW. Your next set of movements are a kneeling hip flexor stretch, which again is a minute on each side. So in that bottom position, you want to think about pushing your hip forward, getting a stretch out of this like front pocket area that you've got. It might even come up a little bit into your abdomen. And again, just sitting and relaxing through that. You'll also get a bit of a stretch going through the ankle. Use a support where you need a support. I will usually hold on to a chair or a box or something by my side to allow my hips to rest and sink down. And again, we push down and through, and we're looking for a minute on one side, and then we flip that round and go a minute on the other side. From there, we would go into some glute bridges where we're looking 20 reps, and every time that we're at the top, I want you to pause and hold for a second before coming back down again. Now, it's quite a short range of motion, and that's absolutely fine, because what I want you thinking about is a full hip extension. We really want to be pushing the hips forward and through so we get that stretch still again through the hip flexor and we completely lock the glute out. The reason why glutes are often underactive is because we never reach a full end range of motion. So here, despite it looking like I'm actually stood up tall, I'm not completely locked out in my glutes. Whereas if I squeeze and pull forward, then suddenly I come way more up into a line and my glutes are really firing, and that's something that a lot of people miss out on from a beginner to an advanced stage. And then the final block into this is a big toe stretch mobility one, and that can be a minute straight out because you can stretch both at the same time, to then go into a reverse lunge with a high knee. The big toe mobility is because often the big toe isn't looked after, and if we spend all day in your shoes, then it's going to get locked down, it's not going to be able to move correctly, and therefore just opening that out gives us a little bit more mobility. If we have more mobility in the bottom of the foot, that's going to translate right up the body, whereas if it's missing from the start point, it's going to defer right up the body. And then from there, the reverse lunge to high knee is to really open out the hip flexor area, just to open out the hips. So we come back down into that reverse lunge and then come up and fire through, and again we're looking for a full extension throughout this entire movement. You want to make sure that your knee's tracking in a good line, you want to make sure that as you stand up and your high knee comes up, your other leg is squeezing, your foot's clamped into the ground, core's tight, and we've got a good posture up and tall. Again, think about the amount of time that you might end up sat like this. We then need to make sure that we've got a full range of motion through the hip, so then it's at its best and it's at its most flexible. Going through these isn't going to set the world alight. It's not going to be the world's hardest workout that you've ever done. However, it's going to go a long way to helping you correct your posture if you end up sat just for a long, prolonged period of times. Now, I've said this is an office reset, but if you drive a car a lot as well, this can also be a really handy tool to do either after a long day where you've been sat down, or just on a weekend or in the morning to get your body primed and ready to then be out of that position for longer. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, please give it a share with someone that you might think needs to see this video too. And if you like this content, please subscribe to the channel because I'll keep updating these on a regular basis. I've been Liam from Lazarus Personal Training, and I'll see you next time.